William's social life in the country largely revolved around horses and the Beaufort Polo Club. It's a small, friendly club no more than a stone's throw from Highgrove, started 19 years ago by Simon and Claire Tomlinson. Claire is one of the best polo players in the country with a string of accolades to her name. She was the highest-rated woman player in the world, and among a host of other things, she coached the England team that she once captained. William and the Tomlinsons' youngest child Mark became very good friends when they were small, and they were in and out of each other's houses, although more often at the Tomlinsons'. William always knew he was welcome there any time, and if his parents were away or busy, that was where he went. Mark has two elder siblings, Luke and Emma. It was a house full of dogs and wellies and not a butler in sight. He was just like the other boys and enjoyed doing things, says Claire. If I was the only adult, I had to kick them all into touch a bit, but I didn't treat him any differently from the others, because I thought that was the fairest thing for him. They used to play together and ride their ponies and bicycles, and as they grew older, they upgraded to horses and motorbikes and pubs and parties, and would often go off across the fields shooting rabbits. They went on summer holidays and skiing trips, and Claire taught them both to play polo. She also taught Harry a little later. At the back of your mind there's always anxiety for their safety, but as with your own children you wouldn't want them to see it. What boy isn't devil may care? Any boy who's got any sporting instinct will be like that. I don't think it's good to restrict them too much. They almost have to learn by their own mistakes. If you're always saying be careful, it's not very fair. You get on and enjoy life, and he's enjoyed the things he's done and I'm sure would like to spend more time at them but can't anymore. He's very competitive, but if you're going to play a sport you might as well be competitive. And he's analytical about his own performance. He doesn't like playing badly. All the children of local horsey and hunting families are members of the Pony Club. It's a rite of passage for them, along with bossy Pony Club mothers. The 5-year-olds start learning to ride and how to look after their ponies, and as they progress they learn jumping, cross-country, dressage and polo. It's good fun, hard work and makes for very capable, practical children, and for those who don't go to the local day schools, it's a great place to make friends in the area. During the school holidays there is a program of training sessions and rallies, competitions and gymkhanas, camps of varying lengths in the summer and Christmas parties. And the most exciting days for most Pony Club children is when they are allowed to join the grown-ups and go fox hunting. Even though hunting with dogs was banned in 2005, the Beaufort, like most hunts, still goes out several times a week and still holds special children's meets. William had already done a bit of riding when they first met, but Claire took him up a level. We did a lot of riding and jumping and having fun. He loved jumping. He has no fear, he'd get stuck into anything, but equally he wasn't completely crazy. When he was a little older, she lent him horses to hunt with. It's nice to have the right sort of horse to get going on. He was growing out of his pony and needed something a bit bigger. Prince Charles was passionate about hunting and polo and encouraged the boys from an early age in both sports, although hunting was always going to be controversial. He loved it because of the adrenaline rush and the fact that in the process of trying to stay on your horse, it's very difficult to worry about anything else. But he also loved it because he saw it as a natural part of the management of nature, and as a great leveler. As a fellow member of the Beaufort says, there's very little protocol on the hunting field, particularly when you're covered in mud and being hauled out of a ditch. The killing of the fox is almost incidental. William's particular enthusiasm regarding hunting was the hounds. Ian Farquhar, master of the Beaufort, has pedigree records in bound volumes for the Beaufort hounds going back 54 generations or more. He is fascinating and passionate on the subject of breeding and bloodlines, knows the name and quirks of every dog in the pack and loves them like children. He once said, "Hunting people support their hounds as others may support their football teams." Having known William for most of his life, it would be surprising if some of it hadn't rubbed off. The best part of hunting for William was riding at the front of the field, alongside Ian, and watching the hounds work. Like his father, he was sad to have to stop. For although their friends might have carried on while the ban remains in place, they know they can't. But he still has polo, the oldest ball game in the world, said to have first been played in 600 BC. The royal family's passion for it doesn't go back quite so far, but it is certainly in the blood. William doesn't get enough practice these days to play as well as he might, but he loves it, and he and Harry use it, as their father did for so many years, as a means of raising serious sums of money for charity. To be a decent polo player, you must be an excellent horseman, have good hand-eye coordination and be a team player. According to Claire, he's not an advanced standard of horseman today. He is a 1 handicap. His friend Mark, now a professional, is a 7. Because he hasn't done it enough, but he's a very sympathetic horseman. So many people who ride treat their horses like machines, but he has never done that. He treats a horse like a living being which has limits, and he will get the best out of it. He has great empathy with his horses. As a teenager, the polo club was the place where William and his friends hung out after matches and games. They would go into the bar where at weekends a rock band called Nobody's Business often used to play. It was made up of 2 locals, Steve Hoare and Frank McQueen. They were loud and gutsy and rapidly became everyone's favorites. They also played at 2 of the pubs polo club people drank in, the Rattlebone Inn, in the neighbouring village of Shurston, and the Vine Tree at Norton. Steve remembers the excitement the first time the heir to the throne stood 6 feet away from him, dancing to his music, and watching his friends form a protective barrier on the dance floor as some young girls attempted to move in on him. At the end of the evening, he and Frank were introduced to William and a group of them sat around on hay bales chatting. William started wearing the band's black t-shirt. Once, he told Steve, he'd been wearing it over the weekend and Granny had asked what the logo was. Their music always raised the roof and they regularly ended the gig with the status quo number, Rockin' All Over the World. William and a couple of his mates started rocking alongside them one night, belting out the words without a care in the world, and thereafter it became his cue to sing. Afterwards, the landlord of the Rattlebone, Dave Baker, often had an after-hours lock-in, with only friends and regulars. They would all sit around drinking and chatting until the small hours. Increasingly, Harry joined the party, and sometimes their cousins, Peter and Zara Phillips, who lived not many miles away at Gatcombe Park. Steve and Frank were soon playing at all the local 18th and 21st birthday parties, and became chummy with the whole crowd. Sometimes William and Harry would act as their roadies, helping them carry their equipment and guitars from the back of the car to set up. Harry used to impersonate their strong Wiltshire accents. At a smart dinner, he once mischievously flung a bread roll at Frank, getting it back double quick. As Steve said, it's not every day you get a bread roll hurled in your direction by a member of the royal family followed by a handshake and a hug. For a bit of a laugh, they all put together a Nobody's Business polo team with William, Mark Tomlinson, Christian Blake Dyke and Bruce Urquhart, and they successfully played their way through to the final of the Henderson Rose Bowl in the summer of 2001. That same year the band played at the Beaufort Hunt Ball, a very grand event. They were not the main attraction, that was a 12-piece band brought in from London, while Nobody's Business was put into a small side marquee. The minute they started playing, their faithful polo club fans were in there, and very soon the tent was bursting at the seams, as William and Harry, and Mark and Luke Tomlinson sang along at the tops of their voices to all the songs, leaving the smart London band playing to themselves and a small handful of ballgoers.